Alright, hey guys, welcome back to a thread discussion video, and we are going to continue what we started. It's going to be part 3 in a way, right? So this is the thread that talks about all the recent, not the recent, but the changes that are coming out, but it was made recent. This is the third iteration of this list of stuff that the devs are working on, and stuff that we are going to see very, very soon. And it was very exciting. We had some very good things. You have abdication. We have sandbox mode, we have Iron Man mode, and just a whole lot of stuff. Keep battles, prison break, a lot of good stuff that's coming in the near future. We did go over this in part 1, then we went over some questions and answers in part 2, and now we're going to go over for 2 more pages, 4 and 5, that have a lot of dev replies as well. And yeah, we're going to go from there. I'm going to link this down below like always, and let's do it. Alright, so here's a big thread of stuff being said and dev replies. Alright, so first person. Is there any plans to expand minor factions to being major? I've talked about this, but they've stated before, not really. It would be great if they could form their own kingdoms. Right now, the only reason to interact with them is to farm renown by killing them or hiring them as mercenaries. The lore elements are there, and I think there can be a very cool direction if Civil War / Rebellion expansion / AI kingdom creation is added. I agree. I think it would be amazing if we could see the rise and fall of kingdoms. Something like the Hidden Hand, for example, creating their own kingdom after helping a rebellion. True. And Dev responds, we are not currently planning such a feature. It would be a very hard feature to make. I'm not going to lie to you. It's very, how can I say, it's ambitious. It would require a lot of work, because then you would have to, because right now kingdoms are treated as like, they always start these kingdoms, and by the decisions they make, they either grow or they don't grow, right? But if you had ever expanding and ever like creating new kingdoms here, new kingdoms there, kingdoms disappearing, then it's just like, what would be the starting positions? How would this work? How would, then you have to have like different cultures as well. It would just be a lot. So I understand why they probably aren't going to work on a feature like that, but that would be amazing. But I don't think it's going to be in the game, unfortunately. Another player. If abdication is there, at least for the player, I still hope they are preparing succession wars under the hood. Power transition is very much flawless in Bannerlord. Only the ruling clan gets to have power when the king dies, and there's no competition at all. They went all Japan with this mechanic. What? And then Dev states, as Bannerman noted, a few variables already tie into this, albeit it is currently limited. We have discussed succession laws before. It may still explore this aspect, but is not a part of our current priorities. That's unfortunate as well. Some unfortunate news so far. This I knew was not going to happen, even though I really wish it did. This right here, he's talking about like succession laws. Like, I'm guessing in a way, can you become the king of already part of a kingdom, or is the only way to become the ruler actually starting a kingdom? And he states that this is currently not part of the priorities. Next player. For instance, the game mechanics which you showed 4 years ago, and since then we haven't heard anything. And then Dev states, game mechanics in the sense of owning alleys exists within the game for notables currently. If time permits, we may explore player-owned alleys further. If time permits, I don't like that. We'll see. I'm guessing they are trying to actually get the full release, probably in a good time frame, but players do expect some of these stuff to actually be in the game, so we're gonna see. I don't know. But next player, any plans for more music and hideout ambushes? There's also no music at all in character creation, just dead silence. Dev states, I'm not sure about the full to-do list for audio, but I can bring this up internally. Okay, something minor. I think they could definitely do that. Then we have another player. Are hideouts in the adding new scenes column or the improving existing ones column, or both? And Dev states both. So we are getting new hideout scenes and improving the existing ones. Cool. And then we have war / peace, because right now the war peace decisions AI is, I'm going to say stupid. And I believe Mexico is checking it out. Well, you kind of have an answer there already. But Dev responds, Mexico knows those parts well. Yes, when I came to the company some 2 years ago, he explained the war score calculation to me. Cool. While I'm not too involved in the issue you are referencing, I would hardly call the AI as such. He has spent a fair bit of time on improving it already, but in a world that is open-ended / dynamic as ours, it can be challenging to achieve decision-making that is always sensible. Not to mention that in some cases, it's a matter of preference, aka the player feels like the AI should have made peace because they lost a number of battles, but the AI knows what the numbers, but the AI knows the numbers are still in the favor, which isn't to say it cannot be improved. Okay, so pretty much what he's saying is like, it's in good hands, right? So we're going to see it, and also he's stating that, it's not that bad in the first. I don't think it's that bad anymore. And obviously, it should be the AI's choice. If it's their kingdom, give them the choice. But I think they do make sensible decisions. Sometimes it's dumb, but I think in terms of peace and stuff, it's gone a lot better. Alrighty, another player, granting of settlements. You can already do that. And Dev responds, you can already grant as a king and relinquish as a vassal settlements that are in your kingdom. Yes, it is possible to do. Alright. Then we have another player stating, but this was not what you previously shown and said. It was very much stated that you could make your companions control the streets. Okay, so that was the plan, right? And then developer says, developing anything sees things designed, prototype, tested, added, and removed. The challenge in this case was and is that we want to share part of the process with our players, which can cause situations where content that some folks were looking forward to might not make it into the final version because it didn't successfully make it through the process. From what I can tell, those decisions aren't made lightly, and I'm sure you can see that we have been much more careful with communication since. Okay, yeah, I kind of understand this. Okay, so why I do want to see it, what's it called? This does make sense. A lot of companies, I'll be honest with you, they don't communicate as much as the developers here, even though people want to talk about, oh, they don't communicate at all. Oh, there's no communication, man. That's the problem with this company. There's no communication. Even though I literally make like 2-3 videos a day about them communicating to players. You know what I mean? Like, that's one of the main content of my show. And I said my show, of my channel. I don't know why I said show. But, yeah, so like, it does make sense that, how can I explain this? Like, they're communicating, and they're also, they're communicating as they're designing, and during design process, developing processes, stuff is added and stuff is removed. And if they were to not communicate as much, they could kind of make these changes. Some stuff would get swept under the rug, and some changes would be made that people might not agree with, but there wouldn't be any way to like voice the frustration. But since they do respond to criticism, even hate and all that, I think that's why it's kind of, some things being removed is kind of being blown out of proportion because, of that reason. But I am kind of upset that some of this stuff is not going to be in the game. This I already knew. Yeah. We shall see. We shall see. What did he reply? Sorry. Okay, says the player, sorry, as I know I'm most likely not your personal decision and you're not the messenger, but you guys had 4 years to make it work. And yes, I understand you don't want to make false promises, but it's certainly not professional going to gaming conventions, showing features which won't be in the game either, and being completely silent about it afterwards, making it even worse. What? Okay, let's cut this out. Let's cut this out. How are you gonna add this last part talking about being completely silent about it afterwards? You asked him a question and he responded to you. How is he being silent? He actually responded twice. How is that being silent? This doesn't make sense. I understand this whole, don't make false promises. It's not professional going to gaming conventions and showing features that won't be in the game. What company doesn't do that? You know what I mean? I'm not trying to be that guy like everybody does it, so it's fine. I think it's not fine. I think it's not good. But at the same time, this isn't the worst example, if that kind of makes sense, right? And I'm not trying to be that guy, but I'm gonna say it one more time. During development, stuff is added, stuff is removed. Sometimes it's not the majority it's not the thing that the majority of people want, but it happens. I am personally upset about it, but as I say on this channel, it is what it is. But then following up with the whole being silent about it afterwards makes it even worse. He replied to you twice. That's not being silent. He gave you a reply, and also a reply of why it might not be in the... Come on, man. Come on, man. And it's not even about cutting corners. Like I said before, like when you're part of a job and you're in charge of making something or providing something, you're not the boss. Like he's not the boss. People in the developing team are not the boss. You know what I mean? There's a person making those decisions, and while you might hate that, that's how it works. You know, I'm pretty sure if they had full 100% control of how this game was developed, 100% control with no one saying yes and no, and we've gone over it, and the developers have shown themselves where they've submitted a list, and it came back with most of the stuff being denied, and that's just the sad reality of it, right? But if they had 100% control of what they developed, I'm pretty sure it would be seen differently, right? But yeah. All right. Next question. Can you tell us how much of the decision making, especially for AI decisions and features, are removed is affected by council development? Okay, this is also one of those like, what would you like to call it? Like American people like to say fake news, right? It's not affected by council development. Multiple devs at this point have stated that council development wouldn't take very long. There's only a couple things that need to be really changed, and what's it called? I don't even think they're currently working on it, and even if they are, it's not like the biggest team for it. So stuff isn't being cut or removed because of council development. That is not true. But let's see what he has to say. Dev states, I'm not aware of any features or area decisions that were removed in this regard. Exactly. I think I know what you're referencing to, but to my knowledge, that was simply venting about internal discussions, which of course isn't ideal, as it can mislead players. It is normal that various options are discussed and pros and cons are weighted before any decision is made. Performance in particular is not a concern specific to one platform, so many PC players who experience stutters, for example, on the campaign map, will attest. Yeah, there you go. It's not really affected. You know what I mean? What else do we got? Got some more. All right, here we go. All right, so another player. So all these statements are not going to deliver a criminal system. Can we cut it off the list? Okay, Dev responds, there is a criminal system in the game that largely works in the way described by the most recent statement you shared. What is this? Wait, what is this? Like 2019. I'm not reading all that. All right. Let's see what he else has to say. One deviation, I think, that instead of a guaranteed death based on crime rating, it's a bit softer with corporal punishment being able to kill you if your health is low at the point of pummeling. Another is influence loss when you have a crime rating. Okay. I understand that, but the reason people are upset with the current crime system is it's very lacking. There's no real player interaction. Yes, I guess you can get thrown into jail, you can get caught, but that's not a crime system. Well, it is a crime system in a way, but it's not the crime system people were looking for. When I heard about the crime system, I thought, okay, I can become a crime boss. I can become a low-level thug. I can do some crimes in the city. That's kind of what I thought when I read about it. You know what I mean? And I think more people wanted that. In the same way that someone mentioned like controlling the streets or something like that. Like I can get more involved in it. I get it that it's there, but it just doesn't feel like it's very player oriented. That it just feels like you can get some quests from the criminal, like the criminal leader of that town. You can do like that whole one criminal wants to take over, and you can choose what side you play on. And obviously you can get captured and then dropped off in a dungeon. And obviously we're gonna have the prison break coming soon. I think people just wanted to see more. But yeah, let's keep going. Then we got another player. Well, mid-February 2021, we already know what's under the blankets. Okay, Dev responds, since the beginning of EA, we have released any content that was ready. We have shared a blanket for a while longer now. What? I'm confused. I think he's saying that we're coming close to the year mark, but the devs have stated that that it might not be exactly a year. You know what I mean? But they've also said they've been on schedule, so we'll see. Next we have is player. For example, in this statement, you mentioned the party command feature. However, there's nothing about companion interaction. For example, there's a mod called Sue's More Spouse and Lord from Family update, which allows you to create a clan for your family members or companions and make them clan leaders if you meet the conditions. Also, your family members can get married to your companions as well. When you're creating a kingdom from scratch, it's a handy solution or a way to do it. Okay, and the dev states these statements provide some insight on our current priorities, aka things that we have been working on, are working on, or will soon be working on. So using your example, we have prioritized party AI directives over marrying family members to companions. Okay, so pretty much what he's saying is obviously it's the current priorities. There's probably going to be a part 4 to this. There might be more stuff added to it as well. But for right now, they have prioritized, obviously, giving parties like things to do, such as being offensive, defensive, or just making their own choices instead of marrying family members or companions. But that could come in the future, but it's just not there right now. Okay. Next player. My question is my example, creating a clan for your family members and companion feature. Is there any chance to have that kind of feature in the game? So it's kind of the same. Okay, it's the same dude actually. Devs say currently such a feature is not approved, but I can bring it up in the suggestion meeting. I do think that it falls under polished than essential feature though. That's unfortunate. Again, this has been some unfortunate news in this video. I'll be honest with you guys. You know what I mean? There is some unfortunate news, huh? But yeah. I guess in a way, they okay. So they want you to obviously recruit other clans that are already in the game, and there's probably would be problems if you can create multiple clans with family members and stuff. While it would be cool, again, I understand why the higher ups said no to it from a performance standpoint, but it is disappointing. And I think I'm going to end it off here because the video is getting a little bit long. And yeah, we're going to do page 5 probably in another video. But with all that being said, it's definitely some disappointing news. It looks like some stuff is not going to be there. Look, when it all comes down to it, it is what it is. I still think the game is good. You know what I mean? I don't think it's like a bad game. Let's be honest here. You know what I mean? The people on this forum, they're still playing the game. You know what I mean? Look, I still think it's a good game. I just think that it's unfortunate that some of these things didn't make it. I know that the mods are going to go crazy about it, and I know that's not a good excuse like, oh, they should have already been in the game. I understand that. This I already knew, like I told you, the whole minor clans turning into major clans, into major kingdoms. I knew that was probably a reach. The only thing that I'm really upset about is probably the criminal system not really being worked on as much. That's kind of upsetting, but we will see what comes with the rest of the stuff we will get. We'll see how all that interacts with each other, and we'll see what else we do get, you know what I mean? So, hey, I got my hopes up. I do want to see these features that I did just talk about, the abdication, how the sandbox mode will work. We're going to see how it all works. We're going to see how good it all comes together and go from there. So don't be too upset about it. Even if some of these major things aren't going to be in the game as a feature, it's coming as a mod. So as a player, best believe it's going to be here. You know what I mean? But yeah, without further ado, ask me any questions, any concerns, and like always, stay safe.